Hello all, and welcome to Sunday Q&A. Right, forever trying to perfect this thing. I'm now going to try. I don't like splitting a Sunday Q&A, so I'm going to try and do it as one. I've now worked out, because I'm now doing this video editing thing, there's another way to upload videos. I'm doing it from my phone. Now what you've got to do is you've got to plug your phone into the computer, drag it onto the computer and upload it from the computer, which I'm hoping might be quicker. If it's not, then you're getting Sunday Q&A sometime on Sunday afternoon, maybe Monday morning. Don't blame me. It's the Sky Internet, people, and me living in a village, which I suppose kind of might lead something to it. But anyway, so with that in mind, let's crack on. So I've got my glasses on again. I've noticed sometimes I wear them, sometimes I don't. It's if I do it in the morning, it's fine. If I do it in the afternoon, my eyes get tired, so I need my glasses. And then this morning I was up early again, after getting home late last night, but we'll come to that. Because it's my 25th wedding anniversary on Tuesday, and I bought the wife a bunch of flowers. Now, I often buy an engagement ring, so I never bought an engagement ring, so I didn't have any money. But she didn't want one, and I have to buy another ring, and we settled on some dining room furniture. It's not very romantic, is it? And I happen to know Lulu, who runs the flower stall in Hampstead. I know Lulu through Big Dave. If anyone's read the book, you will know about Big Dave. He's the man who restored my faith in the human race. It's a big geezer, is Big Dave. And so I thought, well, dining room furniture is lovely. It's not very romantic, is it? So I set about buying the biggest bunch of flowers I ever had. If I remember, and I probably won't, at the end of the video, I'll do you a little shot. In the meantime, this has got nothing to do with courier driving. Let's crack on. So, right, there's a new kid in town. TG Logistics is out there. He's doing his own thing, day in the life, like I'm starting to do a day in the life. I know a few of you do it. It's TG Logistics. There is a link in the comments. What I will try to do, if I can, I'm sure I can, is I will do a link up there to his channel, at least one of his videos. Check the guy out. I haven't had a chance to look yet, but, all strings to the bow. If you're interested in the whole courier driving thing, it's nice to see what people are out there doing. Gives you an idea of, how whether you want to do it or how you're doing yourself type thing. So, right. Also, a big thanks to Nick at London Creative, who's also got his own channel, London Creative. He's a bit arty. He's a guy I met when I was on the market, but he used to be a photographer, and he understands all this sort of where you're supposed to stand in a photo and video editing software. So he did a video just for me, which is on his channel, London Creative, about how to edit videos. So if it's the kind of thing you're thinking of doing, if you're doing the courier thing and you fancy having a go, you could do worse than Nick. And I spoke to him. He's more than happy if you subscribe to the channel, leave comments. He will do you personal videos, or if he can't do your personal video for some reason because he hasn't got the kit, he will at least reply. So he's kind of our go-to tech guy. He's tech guy on the channel. So yeah, he's out there, London Creative. Like I say, could be for you. So anyway, I want a big welcome to Kenneth McKenzie, who says, hi Pete, nice to hear things going better for you, mate. He said, I bit the bullet and joined the CX. I had a sharp intake of breath of what it cost me. CX Starter Pro 1498. Now, I did one on this recently. I always say, if you're going to start, they're going to sell you the Pro. You may not need the Pro. I want owner driver, most basic. Having said that, you've done it now, and there's a possibility in the situation you're in that Starter Pro was the right one for you. I don't know what position you're in. I don't know, but you're on. Anyhow, at least you're on. You're up and running. He's got insurance with Adrian Flux. He's got Git with Nova. He said he wanted to get 50,000 goods in transit insurance. You can. They only require 5 on the CX. Most people, I think it's 5 or 10. No, it's 5, isn't it? Most people will give you 10 quite cheaply. After 10, if it falls over, they start to fight you anyway. So having the extra, don't get me wrong, with the trucks, we've got 50. But I suppose it's nice to have a little safeguard there, So, he's waiting on his fuel cards, which is something else we're going to come to, because I've got the ump with the fuel card people. He's going to do a bit of tramping, got a diesel feeder heated, so he's comfortable. Hope to bump into us in the meantime. Yeah, good luck, my friend. You know where I am, and you know where the wise guys are, should you need us. And if I only know what I know, but I'm more than happy to put it out on the channel. Any questions, any problems, this is what we're here for. So, right, this is going to be a long one, isn't it? Right, I did one on the Excudi SatNav. And as usual, the wise guys are out there telling me what I'm doing wrong. Fantastic. Gilly Eugen says, if you put the postcode with a space in the search direct, find address, town, type postcode with a space, it will find the address. You don't have to do this kind of change of town. And Godzilla says the same. He says, hate to say it, but when placing the postcode, it requires a space. So you can't write B616RP. You've got to write B61 space 6RP. If you put a space in, it will give you the road straight away from the screen, and you can scroll down a number of rows of postcode. Helpful on industrial estates, or put in the number of the house. So, mate, I'm going to give that a bash next week. That might make things slightly easier. I appreciate that. I didn't realise there needed to be a space. Domain name guy says, have a look at Luke C in HGV. I've had a look at his channel. I haven't properly had a look. I've had a little look. I don't get time to watch anyone else's channel. I don't get time to watch telly. Let alone, very rarely. As soon as this finishes, I'm probably going to go to sleep. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm that good. I'm going to have a kip. But yeah, he says, I have seen Luke C, an HGV trucker. He uses Google Earth to see the destination building so he can familiarise himself with what he's looking at on the approach to the destination. So that's why I drive 7.5 tonne. So because low bridges and stuff like that, heights, makes life a lot easier. And also, you can go so many more places in the 7.5 tonne. That's something I like about the paddle jumper. I'm saving up, and I've actually got I've got an 18 tonne in mind. There's a nice one out there. Anyone ever driven a semi-automatic? I'm assuming a semi-automatic was. I once bought one of my first cars. I bought off my father-in-law, and it's an automatic. But it's not like the automatic in the truck where it's got D or D turtle or N. It was one of these cars, and it had like a stick, and you had like 1, 2 drive, and you could, or 1, 2, 3 drive, and you could actually click through the gears, go dung 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 dung, without having to press a clutch. Now that might be quite nice because it's got all the advantages of changing gear without the wearing your knee out when you're stuck in traffic. So there's a daff out there. And don't get me wrong, I've looked right the way up the scale from £3,000 to £30,000. If it's £30,000, but it's the best truck I'm going to ever have, and I'm going to spend the next 3-4 years in it, I'll get the finance. If it's £3,000 and it's fine, I'll do it. And there's this one out there, and between 3 and 30, it's shining at me. So also there's 3 Mercs out there, and I've test driven one of them. They just look a bit bad, but I do fancy a Merc. Still, I ain't got the money yet, so I'm getting there. After the week I've had last week, I'm getting there. Charles Layton says the TomTom 6250 Pro is easy to use. I've been running for 3 years and not one hasn't got him lost. As Dave does now, it doesn't get great reviews on the Amazon, the TomTom, but I've got to say, much as the X-Goody is all right, it is a bit basic. It is a bit, if you know what I suppose. It's more like your Ford Fiesta than your Mercedes Maybach, sort of. And the amount of time I spend using it, I don't mind doing the money. I just don't want to do the money to find out the thing's no good. But you're not the only one to say this. I mean, Danny Boy, he actually sent me a little voice message. He uses it. He says it's all right. He also says I've got a generic brand lorry sat nav from eBay, which looks the same software. It's done me well. It's apart from 2 occasions when done low bridges. I guess sometimes they're going to come unstuck. It's just how often they come unstuck. If it comes unstuck once every 2 months, that's fine. If it comes unstuck twice a week, I'm not going to be happy. Van on a Run says, seems like a good bit of kit for the money. Thanks for sharing. With regards to the new truck, have you considered financing? Yeah, I have. Like I say, if the right lorry comes up, I'll take it. I'm not normally the one into lending, but the thing is, what I'd have to work out is how much money the truck costs and how much money extra I could make a week on it. And I reckon the money that I'll be paying on the finance would be less than the extra money that I could earn on a week for having those extra choice of jobs, getting more money on jobs because it's more pallets, more weight. So it's not a matter of the money, it's a matter of finding the right lorry. There's a DAF out there which is shiny, Euro 6, it's like 25 grand. Yeah, but the tail lift's not right. And it's like you think, and it's just not quite right. It might start to rain in a minute, and if it starts to rain, I think we're going in the Shedbury. So if the thing changes, that's what happens when you try and do it in one go, isn't it? The trucker Chris in HGV, he said I passed. I won it when he passed his class 1. It's okay for the money, but I upgraded with TomTom 6250 miles better. And you guys are starting to steer me towards this TomTom thing. So yeah, another one who's done that. And then Lee Westcott says, have you had the pleasure of the TomTom in an HGV? No, I haven't, but I think I might buy one. I think that goes right. Before we do Aberdeen, do you know it pauses? It's starting to rain. Change of scene there. We're in the Shedbury now. Remember the Shedbury? I used to do some of my Sunday Q&As from here, but then it filled up full of all the garden furniture over the winter, and now I've dragged the garden furniture out because summer's coming, and completely put the kibosh in the whole of summer. It's all on me. I do apologise. Right, so I went to Aberdeen. It was a bit of a, it was a whopper. I don't know, was it worth it? I think it was worth it, but I'll go through it with you. You tell me. So Steve Campbell says, are you still in Aberdeen? I'm in Strathroad truck stop on the A90 for a drop in house at Aberdeen in the morning. By the time the message come through, mate, no, I was gone. I do apologise. Michael Ellis. There's a bit of waste ground with a butty on it on Denmore Road, Bridge of Don. I parked there when I was at night in the Aberdeen area. I managed to find myself the Lenny Henry Hotel, which fortunately was about 13 minutes away from my drop-off, because I had about 26 minutes on my clock. And yeah, fine. Car park, comfortable night's sleep. Steak pie and chips around the corner. Yeah, it was all right. It was good. It's just nice to get a bed in the bath, like, you know. So particularly when you've been driving since 2 o'clock in the morning, and it's sort of, you can find, if you don't, you can. I mean, sleeping in a truck is fine, but you don't. I don't think it's the same as a relaxing bath and a bed, and I do think it does sort of impact you the next day. But and also it's so cheap at the moment. It was like 30 quid. I think the things were going to change from next Monday when they can reopen and they can re-let it out to everybody. I think things are going to change, but even then, I think I'd do the difference, particularly for for the Aberdeen job. Oliver Gunn says, "Sounds like a good day." He says, "How much did you get for the Aberdeen job, and how long did it take you?" Right, I'm going to give you a breakdown, guys. What happened was, I got a phone call. He said, "I'll pay you good money." He said, "I'm going to pay decent money." The original job was 508 miles, and he said he had a bid in for 950 quid, but he said, because it's you, we'll give you a little bit more. And basically I kind of went, he said, what do you want? And I kind of think, I said, you know, because it's a Sunday and I'm driving up and I'm doing my weekend and I don't probably get nothing coming back, I was hoping for £3 a mile. I said, but that ain't happening. I know that's not happening now. We settled on £1,100, which is just over, it's like £2 a mile plus the hotel. Then coming back, I managed to get a job from my mate Josh at HBC, and it was only a Luton job, but it was pick up in Motherwell, and it had to be dropped in Harlow, and that was 385 miles. Luton job, but a backload, and he gave me £1 a mile, which I think on a backload is fair enough. You know, it's got to be picked up. You know, picking up Monday can be delivered anytime Tuesday. That could have gone on a big rig. I understand that, and I was hoping to co-load it because it was a backload. I was hoping to get one in between, but then everything went sideways with the tail lift, and I thought, do you know what, I'm just going to get this on and get home. So that's how it went. But yeah, so I got, and then they added another stop on. They added Edinburgh on, which gave me another 150 quid. But be honest with you, I'd have been better off without the extra stop and without the 150 quid. Because it was a bit aggravating. But having said that, you've got to take it as a whole. So it really depends on whether you're a glass half full, glass half empty type of guy. But the short answer is, Sunday, I got 1,250 quid for driving up there. I picked it up on the Friday afternoon, which did cost me my Friday afternoon job because there was an Amazon on there. So I'm down 200 quid on that one. But I give up my Sunday. I got up at 2, drove all the way up there, dropped on Sunday, dropped on Monday morning. You got 12.5 for going up. And then I got 385 coming back down. So if you think from Friday when I picked up to Tuesday morning when I dropped, £1,600. It's not bad, is it? When you think when I was doing the Argos, I was on £180 a day. My target for Luton was £250 a day. If you call that 3 days, mind you, call that 3 days at 250 quid, that's 750 quid, plus a little bit of extra diesel, plus you lose your Sunday. It really does depend on whether you're a half full or half empty kind of guy. From my point of view, I've got to see Aberdeen, I've got to see Edinburgh again. I went on honeymoon in Scotland. I've got to remember what I'm doing flowers. I'm going to forget. And yeah, I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it. Like I said in the video, was it an offer I can't refuse? No. Am I happy with it? Yes. Would I do it again? Yes. I wasn't. Yeah, so it was all right. So anyway, that answers that, I hope. Well, we've done the Steve Campbell thing. Yeah, sorry mate, I've just done you there twice. MKL says, great watch, thank you very much. Carl Driscoll's, I'm going to do some more of this day in life. There's a few people, MKL, Carl Driscoll, Mark Everson says, you definitely put some miles in there. I definitely did. Barry Fun says, been to Aberdeen in a lorry, very, very long way. But I'm going to do a few more today. I mean, I'm going to have to get the hang of the video software and the video editing, and it's going to get a little bit more slick like the other people out there. It was never my intention, it's just the way it's going. But I'm happy to do it. I kind of like it. I kind of like sitting behind a computer, learning new things. 51 years old, learning new things. It's all right, like, you know. Yeah, I did quote, ironically enough, on one going from somewhere around here to Aberdeen on Monday, because I'm thinking it had to be up there on Monday, but I'm thinking if I go up at 2 I can get it up there. And I think, well, hang on a second, I only did it that Sunday because it was Sunday and I got up at 2. You've got to do it in a day. So if something falls over in front of you, that's you done. You've really got to, it's got to be over a day. In a truck you need a day and a bit to get to Aberdeen. Like Simon, when he said to me, he said, you're going to have to go up on a Sunday, but you won't be able to drop it till the Monday morning, so you'll run out of time. And I was lucky. I was dead lucky. Nothing went wrong. But if it had gone wrong, so I think if you can do Edinburgh and Glasgow in a day from where I am, but Aberdeen is out. So that's be a 2-dayer. Godzilla says, Tamworth, he said, let me guess, Apollo Chemicals. I'm a local lad, Barrels. I think he does these kind of things. Oh yeah, you said on pallet, that's a good idea. Put a pallet on top, couple of straps over the pallet, hold it in place. That would have worked. I thought about that afterwards. This is all on the Aberdeen, my road trip to Aberdeen. But I thought about it. It would have been like boxed in. It would have been fine. As it was, strap round the outside and strap over the top did do the same job. But I'm learning. I never said I was the expert on this. I always said all the way along, I'm not the expert on this, but I am learning. But yeah, that's another little trick. And if they had some pallets, it was a bit Mickey Mouse. The way they brought them out, and it's been wrapped around with one tiny bit of shrink wrap, and I'm like, that's going to fall over, isn't it? So take the time, boys. You won't regret it at the other end. Chris C. I might have to do this in 2 parts. This is getting too long already. Love going to Scotland. Just wish it was a bit warmer. I normally come off the A702, cut across country going to Edinburgh. Might be tricky in the truck because it gets a bit narrow sometimes. One thing I can never find is a job coming back. Edinburgh and Dundee are both really nice though. I've got to say, all the way along, I've been saying to you guys, if you go to Scotland, it's tough getting out of, but you'll be all right. If your best place to get out of is Aberdeen. My mate, Simple Brian, he said I've been up. He'd done the kidney machines. He said I've never got out. I was lucky I had one booked ahead, and there was a couple that I could have maybe nicked, but they were a bit overweight and a bit. It's not that easy to get out of Scotland. In the same way as it's not that easy to get out of anything past Bristol or Norfolk or the middle of Wales. It's beautiful. The scenery is fabulous. Trees, sheep, mountains. Ain't no industrial estates. I don't want to see them, but I need them. Without them, I ain't got a return job. Matthew Smith. Small tip. If you're unsure of pedestrian, because there was that thing about when I was dropping in Edinburgh and it was like pedestrian and Aberdeen also turned out to be pedestrian. If you're unsure about pedestrian restrictions, look on Street View. You can usually see the sign. It works. My sat nav, the Mickey Mouse one that I'm not sure about, was bang on with both of them since you can't drive in there at that time. So I'll give it that. Like I say, it works. It's just not very slick. It's a bit glitchy, a bit clunky. I like something smooth. So maybe the TomTom might be the way forward. Maybe I have to bite the bullet, but I'm getting a truck first. I'm saving up the lorry, so I ain't going to splash out the sat nav. Johnny Van Courier. Brilliant stuff, thanks mate. Well done. He's on the mission. He says, by the way, as far as the editing, he says, don't worry about the editing. I think content is king. And you present like a pro. Mate. There is a pro in my family. I will have an announcement coming, but not for a little while. There will be a new kid in town. I think Charles is going to overtake me. Watch this space. Job done. Cheers. Thanks, Dave. You say thanks, mate. Lovely. And also on the subject of jobs, I did that one that which kind of grateful in the middle. Bearing in mind the week I've had, I started at 2 o'clock on Sunday morning. I planned to finish. Everything was going beautifully. Pick up in Maidstone. Pick up at 2 o'clock. That doesn't have to be dropped off until Badger's Gate. It's junction. It's bang on junction 13. It's where I used to do the fridges. It's right on top of me. No problem at all. So and what happened? Psh! Started at 2 o'clock Sunday morning. Finished at 8 o'clock on Friday night. Took me breaks. I'm kosher on me work time directive, but it's a bit. I'm going to bed in a bit. So anyhow, but I did have a dream day in the middle, which I'm grateful for, and one of them days where things just go smoothly. So Oliver Gunn says, he says, oh yeah, because we're talking about, this must come on the video anyway. He says, talking about the EU rules, just probably should have gone on miscellaneous. The thing about 2.5 tons to 3.5 tons becoming tachograph tends to be more aimed, he says, at the Europeans. Presumably because Europe's a bigger place. You can drive and drive and drive and drive and drive. He says, I don't think it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be aimed quite so much at us, so maybe we don't have to worry so much about that. And Andy, the real Sim Shady, says he had a good day last month as well. MK to Coleshaw, Birmingham, then got Adderstone to Bristol, and then a job beamed up, Chippingham to Milton Keynes. Couldn't believe my luck. He just gone round in a triangle. The triangle. There's the long distance Clara, there's the tunnel, there's the, there's the triangle, there's the hop. Do it any way you can, just make the money. So, puncture. Yeah, I could have done without that. 2.5 hours. They run me up and they says, yeah, we're normally out there. He says, 60 to 90, we're normally out in 58 minutes. And you think, 58 minutes, they might be here 3/4 of an hour. Hour goes by, hour and a half goes by. I'm ringing about hour and 3/4. I've rung them once to make sure I was in the right direction. Hour and 3/4, okay, that's what's doing. So they chased it. They said, what happened was, subcontractors again. I thought I was ringing a tyre firm direct, no, subcontractors. They sent it out to one subcontracting firm. They went back to their yard 3/4 of an hour later, didn't have the tyre. So they put it out to another subcontracting firm. So you start the whole process all over again. Someone said, we should have told you. I mean, don't get me wrong, I didn't want to be waiting there for 2.5 hours because my pickup that would have been at 2:15 then turned into 5 o'clock. Which then took 3/4 of an hour to load and had to come back from Maidstone, hence 8 o'clock on a Friday night. And to me, it would have been nice just to be kept informed. So you're not sitting there freezing to death on the hard shoulder because you're frightened the van's going to get hit. Anyway, comments. T says, T, get behind the rear of the vehicle. If someone hits you, you're done for. I'll be honest with you, when I shot that video, I was the other side of the metal barrier and I was actually sitting on a concrete bollard beneath the bridge. So I kind of was a little bit protected, but even then I thought if something flies at me, I should be the other side of this concrete bollard. It's a frustrating thing. If I knew that I was going to be safe, I'd have just put the bed down, put the heater on, listen to the radio, have a rest, watch YouTube, but you can't. Because the amount of times, you hear about these things and someone drives down, they see a lorry and they think it's a lane and they go and it's bang. So you've got to sit behind the hard shoulder. I did brave getting back in the cab once to put on my coat and my padded high visibility because I was getting a bit cold because the wind was blowing through my fleece. But that's life, isn't it? Luton Man of Removals. Hello, Martin. He's my mate, Martin. He's a removal guy. He used to work for me. He said, hopefully not waiting too long, like we had back in the market when we blew both tyres in Shirley. Shirley was the first 7.5 tonne I had. And we'd done a day in the market, we nicked a few quid, and we were coming home from East Street, leaving about 3 o'clock as normal. And then we hit traffic because there was a student protest and they'd protested all the bridges. I got to just before Waterloo Bridge at round about 3:15. I got over Waterloo Bridge at 10:30. It's about a mile and a half. We just sat there, couldn't move. So I'm moving over from Waterloo Bridge. I might have been 9 o'clock-ish. And then I'm coming home. I'm nearly home. 10:30. My back tyre went. Because it blew one tyre, it blew both tyres. But I don't know why one blew, the sidewall must have blown the other one out or something like that. I was then waiting at the petrol station till 11:30 for a guy to turn up with 2 truck tyres. I think I got home about 1 o'clock in the morning. I was going to work at 5 the next day down to Queens. So, but yeah, it happens. These things happen in transport. They don't happen often, fortunately. If they did, no one would do it. But it does happen. Yes, mate, I do remember. Godzilla says on a Friday, unlucky. Fingers crossed there's a local van. Yeah, there wasn't. But what are you going to do? The one thing I do in situations like this, I've got this phrase that this too shall pass. And you sit there and you just think, I am not going to be here forever. Eventually, this time will go. And then, yeah, so. Yorkshireman's Daily Grind. He says near side blowouts can often be caused by bouncing up curbs, when passing narrow other drivers. Sidewall, you could do the sidewall on your tyres. Eventually it'll give way. Check the sidewall spot you walk around check. Now I've got much better on my walk around check thanks to a couple of you guys. Godzilla's and another guy screaming at me going, Pete, you missed it. I've got much better and I will update my walk around check video when I get round to it. But no, this one blew on the inside wall. It just blew. The guy said you must have hit something because it's just gone bang. And I'll be honest with you, maybe I did, but I didn't see anything. I was on it, and you kind of think you'd clock it. But he said, no, something must have hit you, or you must have hit something because the sidewall's just gone bang. And that time was absolutely fine. I had probably, 6 mil on it? So, you know, it was a decent, and it's a Hancock, it was a decent tyre, decent enough. Okay, ain't a good year, but it's decent enough. I've been running on it since I've had the truck. So, or maybe, well, certainly for a long while. But yeah, just one of those things. But yeah, I do, yeah. But, you know, the walk around daily check, very important. Check for bulges, check for splits, check for wires. Saints with a small courier van said, never a dull moment. I hope you get it sorted. And like I say, this too shall pass. Gold member, hello mate. Hope you're still out. He's another guy doing the old the video thing, I think. Yeah, what headache. Hope you're home safe. Well, I'm home safe now, mate. So thank you very much. So, miscellaneous. Oh, no, we're going to hammer through. We're on miscellaneous. Fantastic. Right, miscellaneous. Here we go. Danny, how you doing, Danny, the operator? Yeah, we did one of our if you know poaching jobs, and he says it's a tricky one. He said the thing is, if you post a job on a CX, it's fair game. You know, for him to take, it's not. It's not fair game, mate. Oh, trust me, if you post a job on a CX, it's your job. If they take it, I'll come around and chop their head off. I'll come around. I'll be very angry, shall we say? Right, Steve Campbell says, oh yeah, now I'm getting to the bottom of this thing. Now, to do with, like, you know, keeping, you know, do I have to do a medical to do a class 2, class 1? No, I don't. I just have to keep my medical. Apparently, I have to keep a medical every 5 years. I have to have a medical, and every 5 years, I have to have my 35 hours of CPC training, my 5 days of CPC training. So that's kind of right, because I'm good, because I'm only on year 1, and anything can happen in the next half hour. But as it starts to progress, so I'm aware of the situation now. And he says, you just have to do a bit of training and trailer and test, nothing else. You don't have to do a theory test, but you will need to do one if you go into for PSV licenses. I think it's one of those weird things that you do the theory test once to do the truck driving, or maybe just to do your normal test. If you want to do PSV, you've got to do it again. I'm still getting the bottom of that's probably wrong, but like I say, wise guys, if you know better than me, let me know the score. But as far as I understand it, if I want to go for class 1, I don't have to do a theory test, I don't have to do a medical, but I do have to keep my medical up every 5 years to make sure that I am fit and worthy of driving one of these great big weapons of mass destruction, which is effectively what they can be called now. But I think there is a CPC training thing on using trucks as weapons. That seems like 7 hours of explaining why to use a truck as a weapon, or how we can prevent it, you know. Is that going to take 7 hours? If I have to do another CPC training course, I'm doing driving hours again. I think you should do that at least twice just to get you around it properly. Sean Gill Martin says, oh, because I did one on PPE, various sites won't let you in without safety glasses. No, that's right, mate. As part of your PPE kit, you should have safety glasses. Having said that, 90% of the sites that I've been where they say you require safety glasses, if you turn up in boots and a high visibility with a hat on, and if they say, have you got glasses? And you go, I haven't, mate. They go, here's a set of glasses. So you can buy them for $1.99 on Amazon, but if you don't, you should probably still be okay. Right, we're on it. Right, here's another take on it. It says, but IP, you keep saying the best vehicle to run on the CX is a 3.5 tonne Luton curtain side with a tail. But is it really? The tail's going to cost you at least £2,000 to install and fit, and then you've got a roller inspection every 6 months. This costs 60 quid. It'll add at least 150 kilos on top of the van before the payload. And of course, you're going to have to carry a pallet truck. Pallet truck's going to cost you 200 quid. Again, reducing your payload weight. He said, I've run a Luton curtain side for over 3 years now and can count as many times on one hand the amount of times where I've needed a tail lift. Curtain sides are more often fork on, fork off. Shippers know you're seldom required a curtain side, you know, that kind of thing. That's my opinion. But fair enough, and I accept your opinion. The thing is, and it's right, the thing is, as far as I found it, there's kind of two kind of Luton jobs on the CX. There's a box with a tail and a pallet truck. That's where we've got 4 pallets. We can put them on with a fork truck, but they need to be dropped off at the customer on a pallet truck at the other end. Or there's curtain side, forked on, forked off. And you do sometimes get someone in between. Like when I used to do the fridges, you know, you'd put it on a bay, they'd load it, they had to be delivered on the tail lift with a sack bearer. So the problem you've got is if you get to a location and, oh, there's a Luton job on here, and I used to get, oh, there's a Luton job on it. Oh, needs a curtain side, can't do it. And that happens to me a lot. Oh, needs it. Oh, look, Bournemouth to Dunstable, I'm going home. Oh, it's curtain side, I can't do it. But equally, there would be jobs that are on there and it's saying needs a tail lift. And that would be the second job. They're really looking for a box with a tail lift. Now, if I'd have been a curtain without a tail lift in Bournemouth, oh, there's a Bournemouth to Dunstable here. It's got to be. It needs to be dropped. It's a residential. It needs to be dropped. So I do take your point, but I do say it's a bit like the reason I want to jump in an 18-ton. It's because in an 18-ton I can still quote 7.5-ton jobs, whereas in a 7.5-ton I can't. When I had the box with a tail lift, I couldn't quote curtain siding jobs. But then in a curtain siding job, jobs will ping up that require a box with a tail. You won't be able to quote them. So it's just getting I try and find a vehicle that covers the most bases. And in my mind, the best vehicle out there is an 18-ton, double curtain side, D Holland, tuck under tail lift, probably a DAF. I'd like a Merc, but I can't find one. And I think for the money and doing the most jobs, the one thing it will do me is the areas. I won't be able to go into certain areas because of the red circles. 7.5 tons, they're everywhere. Having said that, if I get a decent lorry sat nav, it's going to stop me taking me down country roads, which are driving me mad anyway. Right. Van on the Run. He says, regards poaching, because we just came to that with Danny Boy. This is about dropping cards at the delivery point. Assume it's local and they don't put the shipper. Reason I ask is because I got asked for my card at the delivery point last week. I was surprised and had to decline. I don't even have any. £1.05 is very dear, Pete. Oh yeah, for Shell card. I've got the right needle with. He says Shell card through UK Fuels as they hike the price up each week if you continue to use it. They'll only drop the price once again if another card is used. Right now, I've got the needle with them, and we'll come back to the car thing in a minute. With the UK Fuels things, I rang them up and said, I like you people. You're great. Just give me the right price and I'll keep using you. Yeah, we'll put you on a fantastic tariff. And they did, and for like 2 months it worked. And now I'm watching it clock. So guys, please let me know in the comments, what are you guys paying today? Today is the 15th of May. What is your fuel price? And if any of you guys got much less than 105, I'm going to say, well, we're getting a different firm. And I wouldn't mind a Shell card, because sometimes I'm a bit away from BP and you go, service station, it's Shell. I'm going to get a Shell card with a different firm. And the second they start, I'm just going to say to both of them, I say to, what's his name? UK Fuels, give you a chance. You messed it up. Now I've got 2 of you. So I'm going to go with whoever's cheapest, and I don't care who it is, and we can tell our drivers, whoever sends us the cheapest quote is the one who gets it. I have got the right needle with them. I've read this and I went, oh yeah. Having said that, if you all turn around and say, no, we're all paying £1.05, £1.06, I won't have to. But I don't know. I just can't see it. As regard the card dropping thing, I think you've done the right thing. You don't know when you get to a job whether the person when you picked it up from booked it or the person you dropped it off booked it. What you can do is when you get to a job, if you're waiting and it's like a mini industrial estate, sometimes you get like a little crescent units, 1 to 12. You think, well, the guy says, well, it's not ready for half an hour. Get some cards, and if you're in unit 4, put the cards through unit 1, 2, 3, and then 5 through to 12. And then by then, your load might be ready and you haven't wasted your time. And the same goes at the drop-off point. But as for leaving cards, if you get a job from a shipper on the CX, don't put your card out anywhere. Because you're working for them. They're paying you to work for them. That's what they're paying for you for. If you're Bob's Couriers, you're Bob's Couriers all the way through. So, mate, I think you did the right thing. Jez Morden says, hi, Pete. Enjoys videos. Thank you, mate. It's nothing to do with the latest video, just seen the market videos. And a coincidence is a Camden boy used to regularly visit Queen's Crescent 30 years ago, good lady wife and all that kind of stuff. And it's in reference to Newcastle. I've never been to the place. Could you give us a bit of insight to the picture? I can't really. I spent 3 years living in Middlesbrough. I know that reasonably well. So Steve Campbell's your guy for Newcastle, but it's a nice place. It's got some nice bridges and some nice pubs. It used to have the floating nightclub. As regards Queen's Crescent, I was around the corner from it this morning. I went over to, there's the flower stall just next to, it's down the road, it's in Hampstead. We're just buying the trendy shops down that little alleyway kind of thing, That's my mate Lou works there, and my mate Big Dave. And Lee's down there today. I went to buy the wife a big bunch of flowers for her anniversary. So, but yeah, I was near the Crescent today. I visit from time to time. I'll go and see my mate Richard. But yeah, haven't been back for a while. But you miss it though. You miss the markets. When I was helping them set up the flower store this morning, it's that kind of thing. It's like you can take the boy out of the market, but you know, I don't miss the aggravation or the cold. I say the early mornings, but the mornings got earlier. Or the wind, or the rain, or the punters. But sometimes you miss it. Sometimes you just be the crack. And so, Paul A. Bevan, he says something about Renault F1. He says, you know, for like certain shippers post jobs. He said, I have seen Renault F1 post a job and 5 different shippers on exactly the same job. Yeah, that happens sometimes, mate. He said 5 different companies of CX all showing the same job out of Germany. We think, well, that's the same job, isn't it? Oliver Gunn. He says, just to clarify, oh no, we've done that one. We covered that one on the plates. Kenneth McKenzie. He said, yeah. He says about the scale will fall apart. He said, I checked, there is a system to weigh the pallet on scales, and there is a link. So if you go for Kenneth McKenzie, who's just joined, good luck, Kenneth, there is a way of pallet scales. It's a link somewhere in the comments. I don't know how to link to it. Read through the comments. Under Kenneth McKenzie. Guillaume Jort says, I agree with... Oh, he did really watch that video about Ben at HBC, which has proved to be a mine of information for a lot of you. Fantastic. Well done, Ben. Thanks very much for giving us time. I agree with lots of things. There's no such thing as a handball charge. I've handballed things into people's cellar which HBC and Quickline are not even aware of. The way he sends to work, he says, if I think it'll take less than 45 minutes, I don't even bother telling the shipper. If it takes longer... but if it takes long, I'm going to have to charge them. So you ring them up and say there's a lot of handball to be on. It was a big thing, but I haven't got time. Sorry, mate. Sean Gilmartin says, he's saying about the vans. Don't get bogged down with a new van from the start, especially if it's on finance. It forces you to work for lower weights just to cover the payments. Get the best van you can afford. Get the cheapest package on a van on the CX you can afford. Get the best insurance for the money. The cheapest insurance you can. Worry about clocking it up later. Just get yourself. What my mate Nigel always says. He says, "Done is better than perfect." Get yourself done and get yourself done. We keep your overheads as low as you possibly can. If things start to escalate, then you can start thinking about a nicer motor. I agree with him. He said, I used to buy new Sprinters every 3 years. You need to be able to walk away from shippers if they start to if they don't pay. So yeah. So this guy's obviously he's out there doing the thing much bigger than me. So he's one of the wise guys. And I know an argument has been made for buying new vehicles and trading them in every 3 years because you don't have the aggravation with the services and the MOTs, and you've got a decent motor and it looks tidy for the customers, but you need your own customers for that to happen. I think if you're running on a CX and a brand new van, you've got a lot of expense on what is effectively a wholesale platform. So I would always say get the best second-hand van that you could afford and worry about getting it right later. He also says trucks always seem to advertise their price POA. What sort of money are you looking at for a decent 7.5 to an 18 ton? Like I say, I've looked from 3 to 30, and at the moment there's 2 that are shining out there, and they're both shining out for around the £7,000 mark. If they're double that money, I think, well, you don't get double the truck for double the money, and if they're half the money, you sort of go, how many miles? So, yeah, that's where we're at. So, finally, in conclusion, it's a long one, but let's hope that I'm going to try this upload thing and see if it works. Steve Campbell said, the most unusual place I delivered is probably when I'm doing man and van. I did an any van job to a house move from a house to sheltered accommodation. The customer turned out to be a copper that arrested me a few times. Oh, mate. He said, how it happens, he was pleased with the job as I'd done moving his elderly father. I ended up getting known by the local police for the right reasons. He ended up moving the entire local police force, and then says, I have to admit, I was driving a van for 8 months after the MOT had expired too. You're a nightmare. Bless him. So that's it. It's only Q&A. So this is only Q&A. It's now going to go on a computer, and then we're going to see how long it takes to upload. If you don't see this until Sunday afternoon, because this is now 2:30 on a Saturday, it's plan F, isn't it? Really, I'll get there in the end. In the meantime, take care. Take money. And that is the bunch of flowers that I got up at 6:30 this morning to drive to Hampstead to pick up for my good lady wife. She was very suitably impressed. Remember, guys, something is not beautiful because it lasts.